Hello, once again, I thank you for joining me for this time of Bible study as we're walking through the King James Version of the Bible. And I invite you to join us for worship services at the Bearden Church of Christ. You'll receive a warm welcome if you do. We've gotten through Genesis verse 6. We'll begin there today, and we'll just go ahead and jump right into it with verses 1 and 2 of Genesis chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. In the last chapter, we discussed how that the descendants of Cain had grown more and more wicked, and the descendants of Seth seemed to follow more closely to God. Well, over time, it appears that those who descended from Seth started to marry those who were from Cain, that people who were raised in a good way started to take on evil companions and evil mates. And that's a warning to us today to choose our friends and to choose our mates wisely. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33 says, "Be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners." In our way of talking today, remember the King James Version was written in 1609. It's still true, but the English language has changed a lot since then. Evil companions corrupt good habits or good morals. Good people can be led astray by being too closely linked with people who are not good people. And that's exactly what started to happen here. And we read now in verse 3 that the Lord said, "My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. It has never been the Lord's desire that men be lost in sin. It's not his desire today. It was not his desire then. It has been his desire at no point in time. That being said, though, God does allow man to choose to be good or evil. God gives man the choice to follow him or not. And God allows man to make that choice. And when man chooses to be evil, God lets him do so. God lets him be evil. The result is a hardening of the heart. As man chooses to do evil, it becomes easier for him to do evil and more evil and more evil, and to the point to where he no longer has a conscience, to where he's not bothered by doing evil things. The heart indeed hardens. He grows more and more evil and less concerned about God and his will. So now we read in verse 4 that there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were old men of renown. The world had indeed by this time become wicked, and these men of renown were noted for their, and they were noted and feared for their recklessness and for their violence. And in some ways, maybe we're getting a little bit more like that today, and it's a scary thought. But that's exactly what was happening then. These men of renown were not good people. And now we get to verse 5, and it's there that we read, "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." That's a scary thing to think about. That all man thought about was evil. Man did not, with the exception of 8 people that we'll talk about later in this study of Genesis chapter 6, and that would be Noah and his family. With that exception, every thought of man was evil. Man only thought of evil things. And we've all been around people like that you try to talk about something and they have a way of making everything you say into something dirty. And it gets annoying, to be honest. But that's how men were at that time. Everything they thought about was evil. And it's not just that they thought of evil. They sat around and thought of ways to be even more evil. It wasn't just bad enough to be evil, but let's be more evil. And you know what? That attitude is the reason why we read in the next verse that God repented that he made man. That's why God decided to destroy the earth. The warning for us, we know there's a second coming of Christ coming. There will be a judgment day. Are we living these type of lives to where it can be said of us that our thoughts are evil continuously? I hope not. I hope we give some thought to the Lord. I thank you for watching today, and I hope you'll continue to watch as we walk through the King James Version of the Bible. I also hope that you'll join us for worship services at the Bearden Church of Christ. We meet at 745 Cedar Street in Bearden. If you're coming from out of town, that's Arkansas Highway 203. We meet at 10 a.m. for Sunday morning Bible study, at 11 a.m. and at 5 p.m. for worship services. And on Wednesday nights, we meet at 7 o'clock for midweek Bible study. I hope you'll come be a part of us. A warm welcome is waiting for you if you come see us. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.